Hi, and welcome to our guide on how to break down a solicitation document. If you've ever opened up a solicitation and felt overwhelmed, don't worry, you're not alone. These documents can feel like a lot at first, but the good news is they follow a structure. Once you know what to look for, it gets much easier. By the end of this guide, you'll know exactly how to navigate a solicitation, what each section means, and how to pull out the most important information to set yourself up for success. Let's get started. The first section that you'll come across is the contracting officer information. The contracting officer, or CO for short, is your main point of contact throughout the entire process. They are the only person who can legally make decisions on behalf of the government, so if you have any questions or any clarification about the solicitation, this is the person that you'll reach out to. Make sure that you write down their name and contact information so that you have it handy. It's also important to stay in touch with them throughout the process. If there are any updates or amendments to the solicitation, they will notify you, but it's your responsibility to keep track of these updates. Missing an amendment could mean your proposal is automatically disqualified, so don't let that happen. We recommend 2 weeks after you submit your proposal to reach back out to the contracting officer to get an update. The contracting officer is also the one who will evaluate your proposal. Their job is to make sure that your submission meets all of the requirements outlined in the solicitation. So if anything is missing or incomplete, your proposal might not even make it to the next stage. In fact, they do that on purpose to weed a lot of people out. So take your time, be thorough, and follow the instructions carefully. This is also the section where you can check if the solicitation is designated as a small business set-aside. You can see that at the top of the page, and you'll see a box that indicates whether this solicitation is a set-aside or not. If it's marked as a set-aside, it will specify the type, such as small business, woman-owned, or veteran-owned. If you qualify, this is a great opportunity to bid within a smaller pool of competitors. Now let's talk about FOB destination and FOB origin, which refer to shipping and delivery responsibilities. FOB origin means that you're responsible for getting the goods to the shipping point, but after that, the government takes over the shipping cost and responsibility. FOB destination means that you're responsible for delivering the goods all the way to the final location, and you'll need to include those shipping costs in your pricing. If you notice that Other is marked under number 7, the solicitation will include more details about delivery or shipping terms elsewhere in the document. I like to use Control F and search for keywords like delivery or FOB to quickly locate that relevant section. This can save you a lot of time and ensure that you don't miss important details. Now let's talk about pricing history, one of the most valuable sections in a solicitation. This section shows what the government has paid for similar products or services in the past, which can give you a baseline to work from when preparing your bid. Here's how to use this information effectively. First, compare the pricing history to the current solicitation's requirements. If the scope of work has changed, maybe the quantity is larger or additional services are required, you'll need to adjust your pricing accordingly. Don't assume that the government is expecting the same price as before if the requirements have increased. Second, use this section to ensure that your pricing is competitive. If the government has consistently paid within a certain range for a service, pricing yourself significantly higher might hurt your chances of winning. On the other hand, pricing yourself too low can raise red flags about the quality of your offer, so find a sweet spot that reflects your value while staying competitive. Specifically in DIBBS, they have automated awards, so sometimes the lowest price wins. If the solicitation doesn't provide a clear pricing history, you can also search for previous contracts or awards on sam.gov or usaspending.gov. Look up contracts using the NSN, item name, or other relevant identifiers. This can give you additional insights into what the government has paid for similar contracts. DIBBS has a section where you can download all past awards, so you can really look through that to get some help. Finally, remember to include all costs in your pricing. Don't overlook indirect costs like packaging, shipping, if FOB destination applies, or administrative overhead. These can add up quickly, and you want to make sure that your bid covers all of your expenses while still being competitive. Pricing history is a powerful tool, so use it to your advantage, but always double check that your bid reflects the current requirements and your costs. Now let's look at the item descriptions and quantities section of the solicitation. This section provides the specifics of what the government is looking for, including item names, NSNs, which are national stock numbers, descriptions, and quantities. It's critical that you understand this section fully because your proposal must align perfectly with what they need. Here are a few tips to help you make the most of this section. First, don't just glance over the item descriptions, really analyze them. Look for key details like standards, certifications, or specific materials mentioned in the description. For example, if it says meets MIL STD 129 packaging requirements, that standard is non-negotiable. Missing even a small detail could disqualify your proposal. Second, double-check the quantities to assess your capacity to fulfill the requirements. If the volume is larger than you've handled before, consider whether you need to scale your operations or team up with another company to meet the demand. If the description includes technical terms or NSNs that you're not familiar with, use tools like the NSN Lookup Database or reach out to the contracting officer for clarification. Don't guess on this. It's better to ask questions early on than risk misinterpreting the requirements. Next, keep in mind that the government may expect samples, prototypes, or demonstrations for some solicitations. If the description mentions anything like proof of concept or sample submission, make a note of it and plan ahead. Finally, consider how the quantities impact your cost and pricing. Larger quantities may allow you to negotiate better rates with your suppliers or streamline production, but make sure that your final pricing reflects any economies of scale. By carefully reviewing this section and aligning your proposal with the item descriptions and quantities, you'll demonstrate that you understand the government's needs and are prepared to meet them. Now let's talk about the quantities needed, packaging, and delivery sections of the solicitation. Each of these areas is crucial to ensuring that your proposal is realistic, compliant, and achievable. First, the quantities needed section outlines the volume of items or services required. It's important to take a close look at these numbers and ask yourself a few key questions. First, do you have the capacity to meet this volume? And second, will fulfilling these quantities require additional resources, equipment, or subcontractors? Being realistic about your capacity will help you determine whether you're ready to proceed with the bid. When it comes to packaging and palletization requirements, pay attention to every detail. The government often has strict packaging standards such as heat-treated pallets, specific labeling, or compliance with military requirements. Missing these can lead to compliance issues, delays, or even penalties. If you're unsure about the packaging requirements or how to meet them, we've got you covered. Check out our DIBBS Inspections and Packaging Guide. It's a great resource to help you understand what's expected and how to prepare. Now let's focus on delivery time and details. This section tells you when and where the government expects your delivery. Review the schedule carefully to make sure that you can meet their timeline. Factor in any potential delays from your suppliers or logistics partners so that you can plan ahead and avoid overpromising. You'll also want to check how the solicitation defines delivery responsibilities. So if you see FOB destination, that means you're responsible for getting the goods all the way to the final delivery location, including shipping costs. If it says FOB origin, you're only responsible for getting the goods to the shipping point, and the government handles the shipping costs from there. Now let's talk about the parcel post address and freight shipping address sections. These tell you exactly where your goods or services need to go. While it may seem straightforward, accuracy here is critical to ensuring a smooth delivery process. Here are a few tips to help you get this right. First, double check both the parcel post address and the freight shipping address. These may be different, so make sure that you're sending the correct items to the right location. Delivering to the wrong address can lead to delays, fines, or you may get a poor performance rating, which could hurt your chances of winning future contracts. Second, if you're working with subcontractors or third-party shippers, make sure that they're aware of the correct shipping information. It's a good idea to include these addresses in your purchase orders or shipping instructions to avoid any mix-ups. Third, confirm if there are any special delivery instructions. So, for example, some addresses may have restricted access, specific delivery hours, or require certain documentation upon arrival. If the solicitation doesn't clearly outline these details, reach out to the contracting officer just to clarify. Finally, keep an eye out for any mention of government delivery terms like we mentioned before, such as FOB destination or FOB origin. This tells you whether you or the government are responsible for shipping beyond the shipping point. And if you need any help understanding these terms or ensuring your shipment meets compliance standards, check out our DIBBS Inspections and Packaging Guide for step-by-step guidance. Taking the time to carefully review and confirm shipping addresses and requirements will not only help ensure timely delivery, but will also protect your performance rating and future opportunities. Let's take a moment to answer a few common questions that often come up when working with solicitations. Question 1. How do I include past performance if I haven't won a government contract yet? Okay, if you don't have any past performance, don't worry, you're not out of the game, and you actually may have more past performance than you think. Here are a few strategies to strengthen your proposal. First, we want you to consider subcontracting. Partnering with a prime contractor allows you to gain experience by working on part of a larger contract, and you can leverage their past performance while building a track record for your company. Second, try a teaming agreement. You can team up with another business that does have relevant past performance. And in this case, you'll combine your strengths and qualifications with theirs to present a stronger bid. So for instance, if they're an 8A company and you have a teaming agreement, you are considered an 8A company with that teaming agreement. Third, highlight your commercial experience. If you've done similar work for private sector clients, that can still count. Be sure to explain how your experience translates to the requirements in the solicitation. So for example, if you've delivered similar products or services on time and within budget, emphasize those details. And fourth, focus on your company's capabilities and processes. Even without direct past performance, you can demonstrate your readiness by showcasing your systems, certifications, qualified staff, or unique expertise that align with the government's needs. And lastly, if you truly have no experience in the required area, consider smaller or simplified contracts to start. This one might be too big for you. Many agencies offer micro purchases or small business set-asides that are perfect for building your reputation and gaining valuable experience. Remember, even if you don't have a direct past performance, a well-written proposal that highlights your capabilities, partnerships, and commercial experience can still make you competitive. Question 2. What is a commercial reference? A commercial reference is proof of your work for a previous client, like we mentioned before, either in the government or in the private sector. It's essentially a way to show that you're reliable and capable of delivering results. If you've done similar work for private sector clients, ask them to provide a reference that speaks to your ability to meet deadlines, stay on budget, and deliver quality results. Strong references can make a big difference in how the government evaluates your proposal. Question 3. How do I get my CAGE code? Your CAGE code is automatically assigned when you register on SAM.gov. If you're already registered, log into your SAM.gov profile and you'll find your CAGE code listed there. If you haven't registered yet, the process is simple and we have a guide for that. These are just a few of the most common questions, but don't hesitate to reach out if you have others. And remember, the contracting officer is always a great resource for clarification. Before we wrap up, let's quickly review what we've covered today. We started by discussing the contracting officer information, who serves as your primary point of contact, and they hold the authority to legally bind the government. So maintaining clear communication with them is crucial for receiving amendments, clarifications, and finalizing negotiations. Plus, you really want to build a relationship with them for the future. Next, we talked about pricing history and how it provides insights into the financial aspects of the contract. Understanding this section is essential for creating a competitive and realistic bid. Then we moved on to NSN, purchase order numbers, item names, and descriptions. This section is vital for understanding the government's specific needs. This section lays the foundation for preparing an accurate and comprehensive proposal. We then reviewed the quantities needed section, which outlines the volume of items or services required. This is key for assessing your capacity to fulfill the contract requirements. The delivery time and details section is pivotal for planning your timeline and ensuring that you meet deadlines to avoid penalties. Then the packaging and palletization requirements are also critical for ensuring your products are delivered safely and that they comply with all government standards. Paying attention to this helps avoid delivery issues, delays, or non-compliance penalties. We also touched on the parcel post address and freight shipping address, which provide the delivery locations. Remember, accurate delivery is essential for maintaining a good performance rating. And then last, we discussed delivery dates, which outline expected timelines for delivery. Adhering to these deadlines is crucial for maintaining compliance and building a strong reputation with the government. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this guide has helped you feel more confident about breaking down a solicitation document and understanding what each section means. Remember, every detail in the solicitation is there for a reason, so take the time to thoroughly review it, and it can make all the difference in submitting a successful bid. If you're ever unsure about something, don't hesitate to reach out to the contracting officer. They're there to help. And if you need additional tools or guidance, we've got resources like I mentioned earlier. Our DIBBS inspections and packaging guide is a great one to do next. We know government contracting can feel overwhelming, but you've got this. With preparation, attention to detail, and persistence, you are setting yourself up for success. Thanks again for watching, and good luck.